If you're struggling right now to generate clients and navigate this social media landscape and figure out marketing, and it just constantly feels like you're on the back foot and you're being left behind, I've got some good news and some bad news for you. The bad news is there's a very good chance you are actually being left behind. It's not just a feeling, it's actually happening. The good news is I have the answers for you and I'm going to help you. I've been explaining in this series of videos, of which you're watching part 3, that there is a storm coming for our industry. If you sell courses, coaching, services, or your expertise in any way, shape, or form, the whole game is changing. It's being completely shaken up, and most people are unaware. And those that are unaware are actually going out of business. But those that are aware and can prepare, they're going to be able to thrive through this next season and build some gigantic businesses and have a massive impact. I want you on that side, which is why I've created this 3-part training series. And if you haven't watched part 1 and part 2, there's links to them in the description box. This video won't make sense unless you check those out. We're talking about AI, we're talking about trust in the marketplace, we're talking about sales, we're talking about social media, and how the whole entire landscape has completely changed in the matter of the last few months. So go back and watch part 1, then move to part 2, and once you've done that, come back here to part 3, and I'm going to release for you right now the final part of this session that I did with my $20,000 coaching clients, where I was preparing them for this stuff, and you now get to be a fly on the wall. And we're going to talk about specifically sales funnels, sales processes, what's working right now. I give examples of how I made $1 million in 90 minutes. I also give examples of how I lost $100,000 by not being prepared. Lots of stuff that's going to happen in this next session. So strap in, get ready to take notes, grab a cuppa, and let's do this. I'm going to talk about the final piece, marketing. I said the top 3 steps will help alleviate the pressure on the lower 3 steps. Talked about get your house in order, foundations, talked about tension. A few things on marketing that I want to touch on. I've got 5 key points that I want to touch on. First is, let me just dive straight back in, so get your notes ready. First is looking for opportunities within your sales process, your conversion vehicle, all the stuff you're doing, to have personal touch and personal connection if you can. Again, I'll point back to AdCon. It's like the result we got on the back end of AdCon was really telling and really eye-opening for us to see that those conversions are still possible, that ability to repair the trust bridge is there. Like, those are the tools that you can use to do so. It's personal connection and it's things like that. So even if that's only in a virtual setting, then maybe there's opportunity for you to be doing virtual events or more live stuff than automated, especially on the back end. If you've got leads coming into your ecosystem and they're on your list and they're in your world, then maybe when you're doing your next gift box funnel, it's a live webinar or a live workshop where it's something more interactive with the people on your list. We may not want to do it because we think, well, I could probably only get 10, 15, 20 people on. I'll wait till I can get the hundreds of people on. But the reality is those small groups can still work quite well. Kirsty does a lot of these, like smaller masterminds and workshops, and the close rates are really high. Like, you could have right. So if you have a Zoom call and you do an epic workshop where they feel really connected to you, really close to you, and like they're learning a lot, and the buyer demand's increasing, you could have 10 people on that Zoom, and 4 or 5 of them could buy and become a client. 5K, 10K a pop, like the smaller numbers can actually produce bigger results. So it's certainly not something to overlook, and that might be the keys to unlocking a piece of revenue in your business that you're currently missing, because your eyes are on the big funnel that can scale on the front, and you're missing this little revenue pocket of 10, 20, 30, 40K a pop every time you do it, when you do these smaller, more interactive, personal events. So keep that in mind. Maybe even there's an opportunity for a live event for you. How many of us in the room actually get prospects or clients in a room with us from time to time? Okay, so a few of us around the room, kind of maybe half of us, third of us. Maybe there's more opportunity to do that. It doesn't need to start with a setup like this. It can start booking a hotel boardroom and put up a couple of bits of signage and just test it out. You could probably do that for £1,000 for the day, and invite a room of 10 people and just experiment. Like, if you ask yourself what's the worst that can happen, The worst that happens is you fumble on your words, or there's a problem with the hotel and it's not the best experience for 10 people. That's not going to tarnish your brand. It's not going to have a widespread repercussion. It was a test, and it either goes to plan and you now have a great model for the business, or it didn't, and now at least you know and you tried it and you had some fun. And then just a bonus sales tip, because it's unrelated. We're coming down into step 4, but quick bonus tip. What I said we're doing for referrals, we now do on the phone when we're selling a prospect, and this is great. And I would like you all to just think, could I do something like this? Would that work for my model? What we're doing is to get past I said our industry are doing these outlandish guarantees, and we can either play ball and just do it as well, and now I probably shouldn't do that. And now we're kind of like level pegging with them and doing the same thing. Or we can try to do things differently, position ourselves differently, and try to remain in a category one of one. So we get it a lot on the phones. It's, what guarantee do you have? And what happens if this happens? And they're riddled with fear and bad past experiences that loses the sale if we don't have a refund policy or don't have a guarantee, and it's one and done. You pay and you're in, and that's it. You're fully committed. So what we've started doing for our coaching programs is, and we only pull this out as a wild card at the end if we need it, but we get to the end of the call, it's not closing, we can tell that it's not money, but it is just that they're nervous about making another big financial decision because they've been burnt before. We offer them a trial. And we offer them a refundable trial. So they pay $1,000, and it's 100% refundable after 7 days if they don't experience it. And the way that we position it, and I think this is quite important, we don't position it that you're going to come in and within 7 days you're going to achieve this result, or we'll give you your money back. It's what this is designed for, and it's the same way I did it at AdClients actually. What this is designed for is for you to be able to come behind the curtain and see that everything we're talking about is true. I know that you mentioned earlier on that you were burnt before and you invested with this competitor of ours and you did this, you did that. By the way, totally get it. Like, the industry's in a wreck right now, and it's so frustrating for people like us that we have the goods and there's someone like you on the other end of the phone and you're so close to not getting the keys to the kingdom because the industry has tarnished the reputation. So I don't want that to be the reason you don't see it. So what we'll do is we'll put down $1,000 deposit, just shows that you're serious and that, this isn't just a freebie thing here. And then you come in for 7 days, full access to everything. You're going to be onboarded as a client. You're going to see behind the curtain access to our academy. You'll get to start joining the clinics, meet the team. And you've got 7 days to just go, this is real. These are real people. Everything is in here that they said would be in here. I'm comfortable. And then if you proceed, then we'll take your first balance of your payment. And if it's not what I said it would be, then we'll hit the refund button and we'll part ways as friends. That is doing really well for us. As a final piece, of course we go for the sale first, but as our final piece we do that. At the moment, I need to check with Kat what the accurate number is, but last time I checked with her, 90% of trials stay. So 9 out of 10 stay. So they pay that, because again, the reason it's 9 out of 10 is because we're using it in the right way at the right time. If you're defaulting to that too quickly, and money was the issue, for example, well, then you probably have more people defaulting after the trial because you didn't get the right objection. We use this when we know that the person can probably afford it. Like, finances is just not the thing. It's that they're nervous, scared, and that's the reason why they're not doing it. Then when they come in, all they needed to see is, this is refreshing. Everything is here that they said was here. Yeah, so 9 out of 10 are staying. So it's really, really cool. So think about how you might be able to do a trial like that inside of your program. It's a good way to scoop up a few extra sales. Second thing I want to touch on. We're at a place now where you might want to have multiple, I don't want to overwhelm you by saying this because it's not really that overwhelming. But you might want to have multiple funnels in your business that you're using for different stages of the client attraction. We've got our front end funnels, which we could call our cold funnels, people that are coming in and finding us, and then we do stuff on the back end, and that's maybe like a gift box funnel. There's like a middle piece as well. I hate to waste a whole sheet of paper, but I need a full sheet. So you've got your buy it, you've got your build, you've got your borrow, and when you're sending all of that in to your conversion video, you probably want to have like a line down the middle, sales is there, where you've got cold and you've got warm, and I'll get to the third one in a minute. So if you've got people that are coming in for the very first time, they haven't heard of you before, and this is the first time they've seen an ad, then you're going to be pointing those people down into the cold funnel. That's going to be your webinar, that's going to be your virtual event, that's going to be the place where they actually get to know you and understand what you're about and build as much rapport as possible. And the sales cycle and the value cycle probably going to be longer. I really wouldn't suggest, I'd highly encourage you to go a different direction than going from icy cold paid ads to your cold funnel being a 10-minute VSL. Like that model is like dying. Like it's just getting harder and harder and harder because of all of the trust and the length of the sales cycle, all this stuff that's going on in the industry, and then you're expecting to capture someone's attention who didn't know you from Adam a day ago, and they watch just a 10-minute video and then get on the phone and buy. It's like it's going to tie into my next point, but you're putting the marker where marketing hands off to sales, you're putting it way too early, and you're giving yourself a nightmare of headaches on the back end. So your cold funnel should be a webinar, virtual event, something where they're actually going to really get to know you and see your value and all this kind of stuff. But then you have a warm funnel where you might send people that have watched your Build It stuff, or maybe it's some retargeting from people that have come into the cold and watched this but didn't come down into the sales, or maybe now they come into the warm funnel. Maybe the warm funnel, you'll use it for certain borrow it scenarios where you have a lot of rapport with that particular audience and they already know you and have seen you, and now you've got an opportunity to invite them in. And this might be the more direct, here's what I do, here's how to work with me, and an opportunity to just book a call and come into your world. This is where you'd have like the 10-minute VSL, for example, right? Like we're building a page as we speak right now, where it's just going to be hey, look, you've seen our stuff, you've watched our content, you've been around our world. On this page, we're going to just tell you literally who we are, what we do, who we can help, and then there's a survey below that you can fill out, and off the back of that survey, we'll make our best recommendation for how we can work with you, and there's an opportunity for us to see where we go from there, And then based on that survey, we might send them off to a momentum ending, an expansion ending, very rarely a Titan ending. But that, because I want to get the people that don't necessarily want to go through that, or maybe that's not the way they make a buying decision. We've talked about this loads before, but for the newer people in the room, you've got to activate your buyers in different ways. Not everyone buys in the same way. Some people buy off the back of a 4-hour masterclass. Some people buy off the back of a 5-day challenge. Some people buy just directly off the back of a piece of YouTube content. Some people will never watch a long-form piece of content, but all of the short-form stuff builds up over time, and they just need to come to a page, they just hear the thing, and they buy. Some people don't even want to go through a funnel. There's a certain campaign that we talk about in the Academy where you send emails, and in the emails, you tell them that you're looking for a few clients, you've got some openings in your program, and here's what it's about, and if you're interested, just reply back to this email, and then from there, you set them on a call. They never even touch a funnel page. And some people just need to see that email and go, oh, right, yeah, okay, yeah, I'm interested. And they just reply the word interested, and then away you go. So you've got to activate these buyers in different ways. And so there are going to be some people that kind of registered for this, maybe watched a bit of it, didn't quite get all the way through, or maybe did, but didn't make a buying decision. And then they come back and they're on your social media, and then they see you on that podcast. And there needs to be a moment where it's like, this is just what I do. And now these two are working together and helping each other. Does that make sense? Yep. And then, of course, you've got all of those leads that are opting in, and they're coming into your bucket. And that's why we have our back-end funnel. So we have our gift box. Dare I try to do a gift box? There's a little bow. So then you've got your gift box funnel, and that's where you have your back-end stuff. So this is where we're actively driving traffic. So they're coming into either our cold funnel, if it feels most appropriate for that ad, or maybe there's a particular YouTube video where I've done, we've talked about Jason Greystone's strategy of doing like a 2-hour YouTube piece of content. Well, off the back of a 2-hour piece of YouTube content, if they get to the call to action on that, they're probably ready to just come straight here. I'm not going to send them from that to another big old funnel. I'm just going to say, hey, look, if you're ready to get some help with the stuff we just talked about, come over here. Then once they're on our list, that's when we're doing follow-up promotions, gift boxes, different virtual events. You might do that 20-person Zoom we just spoke about, and you're doing other funnels on the back end. You with me? Yeah, tracking? Yeah, so those are the three that you may just want to think about and start to coordinate that in your business. Okay, what's my cold funnel? What's the one that turns cold to warm? And then what's my warm funnel where I turn warm to converted? And then what am I doing on the back end that's positioning the thing I've already positioned, in a new way that activates more buyers? And they just want to be thinking about that in the business. The third thing, and this is where I spoke about the handoffs from marketing to sales. Hey, real quick, if you're enjoying this content so far, I understand there's a lot to keep up with. We've got notes for this whole presentation, what you've seen already and the stuff to come. If you want the notes from this session that we handed out to our clients that were in the room, just DM me on Instagram, say the word notes, and my team will send those to you free of charge. This is the cold to sold timeline. Let's say that sold is a 10 and cold is a 0, right? When people come across you online, they start at a 0 for every single one of you in the room. They've never heard of you before, they've not seen your content, there's zero trust built, there's nothing. So they're at a 0, right? Completely cold. And of course the game is that we've got to get them to a 10, right? Somewhere along here, marketing hands off to sales, right? Let's just put it smack bang in the middle and let's say it's a 5. That's where they're booking a call with you. So everything before that was marketing that was getting them ready and getting them positioned. And now they're halfway to being sold. Halfway. Trust has been built. They like your topic. They understand a bit about what you do. But now they've got some unanswered questions and they still need some more selling. So they're 5. They're halfway there. Now they have a call with you. Sales takes over. Okay. Now where we position this is really important, and we've got to be strategic about this. We were talking about this, Kirsty, and this is what made me think, maybe I'll just make sure I give us all a refresh on this in the group, because you've got to have a strategy for where that marker lands, and there's different things that we're making a decision about in the way that we do this. So, for example, over here on cold, we're looking at shorter marketing, whereas over here it's longer marketing, meaning the further towards this line we put the marker, it means there's more work for the marketing to do. So there's bigger funnels, more virtual events, longer content, but we're getting them sold on the marketing, but we use longer content to do that. We've then got cheaper versus more premium. You're not going to be able to get my handwriting, but cheaper or premium priced. So if we're having the marker further this way, well then those calls are going to be cheaper, because they're going through a 5 or 10 minute VSL. The barrier to entry to book a call is much lower. Whereas if we have them go through more content and more marketing, or hoops to jump through, we're going to get we're going to have to pay a more premium price for those for those people. Then we've got volume. Volume versus quality. So then we have to decide, do we want to just go for volume and get hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of calls booked, but they're all potentially low quality? Or do we want to have fewer calls, but they're higher quality? That's, again, another thing that we're playing there. We've then also got less informed or more informed. And then the final one is lower conversions and higher conversions. So what we have to decide is, where are we going to pin the marker in one of our funnels, and then we have to be happy with our decision, because of course we can't have everything. We can't say, well, I want to have the cheapest leads and the highest volume of calls being booked, but I also want to have the highest conversions and the highest quality. You with me? We can't pick and choose from both ends. Where we put the marker is, if it's right in the middle, we're saying I kind of want equal of both. I want to have some decent volume, I want to have some decent quality, or I want more quality calls but less of them to save my time, or I've got a big sales team, well, that's my goal, so I want more volume, knowing that we're going to cancel more of them and we're just going to have a hungry sales team, diving in. Or you pin it here, then you have to be aware that that means you're going to pay a premium for those calls being booked. And that was the game plan. Because what's difficult to hear is you go, okay, well, I want to have a really lengthy sales process and I want to get them up to an 8, maybe even a 9 before they get on the phone. Oh my gosh, I'm paying $700 a call.
And it's like, the funnel's not working. So no, the funnel's not working. We decided the strategy was here. You can get the $100 calls. It's no trouble. You get the $100 calls if you pin it down there, but you're going to be speaking to loads more people that are just no good and wasting your time. So there's got to be strategy here as to where we pin it. Are you tracking with me, yeah? Make sense? Yeah. So you've got to choose, and you've got to choose for those different funnels. So you've got your cold funnel. Okay, what's the strategy? If you need help with the strategy, then of course talk to my team. Now we've talked about this, message us, let's talk, like that cold funnel. Do you want volume, cheaper, and now you're just going to have a couple of sales agents just going nuts on that list? Or do you just want to sift through as many as you can? Or do you want to pay a premium, higher quality, fewer of them, and that's your cold funnel? Then, okay, that's fine. But let's just figure out how it fits with your lifestyle, the size of your team, and where you're at. Then you make the same decision for warm. Got your cold funnel. With a warm funnel, I'd probably pin it more up here, That warm funnel, I'm going to have... they've come through a lot of stuff now. I'm hitting them with an ad for the warm funnel right at the moment. I'm having them go through a survey. There's different endings. There'll be videos at the end. So yeah, you've got to have a strategy with this. Okay. Number 4, and again, we're still talking about how can we combat the problems in the industry. More so than ever, we need to do this thing that we've talked about loads here, which is displayed understanding. Who remembers that phrase? Displayed understanding. Yeah. So where we're displaying to the prospect that we understand them, we get where they're at. We need to default to talking about our prospects in our ads, our videos, our marketing, our funnels. We need to move away from defaulting to talk about us and instead talk about the prospect. Instead of, here's what I do, here's why I'm amazing, here's the business I've got, here's how I can help you, here's the result I can achieve for you. It's, hey, if you're watching this, chances are you feel like this, you're struggling with this, you've got this pain point. This is a real issue for you right now, and when you try this, that likely happens, and that leads to this. It's like, someone gets me. We're displaying that we understand them. And again, to navigate our way through a competitive landscape where some people are going for the aggressive guarantees, outlandish guarantees, and that's their marketing, that's how they're winning clients, we can be over here doing it differently, winning clients based on trust and relationship, as we spoke about earlier. And we build that trust and relationship by saying, hey, look, there's all that noise over there. Look, I get you. I understand you're feeling like this. This is painful. Like, I totally get it. I can demonstrate to you soon on my webinar that I can help you with it, but I just get it. Like, I understand. It's a scroll stopper. And it happens for me. And I'm sure it probably happens for you, There's a certain way to get my attention with certain marketing and sales and operational level help. It's like saying things that is going to hit me right where I'm at. And you know who's really good at this? Ryan Dice. Ryan Dice. If you watch his YouTube channel and you watch some of the intros of his videos, like sometimes I watch his videos and I'm like, the way you just introed that video for 30 seconds was like you were talking to my exact problem right now. And I can't help but then watch the rest of the video and then buy his stuff and then book him for events. And there's a whole thing that happens off the back of he got my attention with understanding me, not just, hey, I help brands to scale to 8 figures. I'm in that, but that's not what really got me. What got me is, you get the problem I'm currently facing and trying to tackle right now. Does that make sense? Yeah? Displayed understanding. Again, something that I've shared a number of times, but the idea is that we want to demonstrate and describe the problem that our prospects are feeling better than they even can themselves. If we can describe the problem that they're experiencing better than they can themselves, we get very close to winning them as a customer and a client. Because if you think about it, we've got these clarity goggles on because we don't currently have the problem that they've got. We can help them with it. So they've got the problem, but feeling all messy and scatty and frazzled. And so they've got the problem, but they can't quite articulate it. And they're feeling this pain and they're trying to search for answers. And then they stop on different ads and it just feels messy for them. Whereas we've got these clarity goggles and we're just looking on their situation. And we know the problem, we see it, we've experienced it before, we've helped people with it. Now, if we can articulate it in a way that in their scrambled brain, they go, whoa, you just hit the nail on the head. That's exactly how I'm feeling. Then we've given them some clarity over the problem, and now there's going to be this law of reciprocity that kicks in that they want us to be a part of their solution journey. Yeah. And I wanted to just touch on this as well. Couple that with some kind of unique framework or terminology, and that's where it becomes actually really powerful. Because, and again, this is where, like, we've talked about lead magnets and sidecar webinars and all this stuff that the reason that stuff works so well, like if I hold this up in an ad and I say this is the expansion framework, this had to go from 20K a month to 100K a month, like this is the framework. It's a scroll stopper because they've not seen it before. There's no way they could see it before because I created it. Whereas in an ad where you're just talking, you're probably saying similar words to words that have been said in an ad before. You might look similar to someone who has been in an ad before. It's very difficult to come up with a unique background that looks different to an ad that's been done before. But if I can hold up a framework that's very colorful, very interesting, very exciting, I instantly become a category 1 of 1 because they haven't seen this thing before. So if you can display understanding and then the transition to the solution is something they've not seen before, like very, very, very powerful, very powerful. So you couple those two things together and that's a recipe for some really strong marketing that gets through to the person you're trying to get to. Yeah, make sense? All right. Number 5, and then we're almost there. And then we'll do some Q&A. Got plenty of time to answer any questions you may have. Number 5 is the longer sales cycle and the longer value cycle that happens here in the conversion vehicle. And I kind of already touched on most of this. You know, it's perhaps longer webinars now. It's branded webinars and virtual events. Focusing on the back end, so like down here, focusing on the back end has never been more important. If you've been neglecting it, like it really is time to reorientate your priorities. Because what we can do is we can get stuck in the trap of top of funnel. This is where we can actually get stuck a lot of the time. It's like, right, I want to drive more traffic and bring them into my funnel. Did they convert, yes or no? Yes, great, take care of them as clients. No, okay, no problem. Let's go back to the top, try to find more people, run more ads, put more content out there. And we forget that we've got like a ton of people that are falling down here into our email list bucket. Like even if it's just 100 people, you know, like think about it. This is a room of 25 to 30 people. So now let's multiply that by 3 or 4 and let's imagine the size of that room. If you've got an email list of 100 people, it doesn't feel very big, feels insignificant. But actually, if you picture that in a room, it's like, whoa, that's a lot of people actually with different unique pain points and frustrations and desires and things they need. And there's probably, again, if you just imagine that room of 100 people, if you speak to them in the right way and regularly enough, there's probably a few of them that are going to convert to clients. You know, you just needed time to activate them as clients. So the back end's really important. Like this game, if you get stuck in this game, it's just a trap. It's just a trap. But if you look at this more holistically now, and this is the way you play the game, it's like, okay, I have my front-end traffic, buy it, build it, borrow it. I send that into my conversion vehicle. I've got my cold one. I've got my warm one ready for the warm people. When they're on my list, I do some back-end stuff, and I'm making sure that my pipeline is constantly being cleansed, and we're activating more buyers. I do my gift box funnels on the back. That creates more revenue. That gives us more capital to run more ads, which means my organic gets seen more. Like it's got to be a process. You with me? If you just get stuck in one part of this, that's why it feels really hard for so long. Because there's no other part of the business model that's supporting and alleviating the pressure of the others. Because another one is right here. Like it all plays into each other. Another one is the delivery. If you deliver world class and then you have the next thing they can go to, that's where you start to increase the LTV of a client, you know, significantly. You know, it's like every now and again you have a client that comes up for a renewal and it's another 10K, 15K, 20K. And that just drops in. How? Because you took care of them over the last 90 days while you were doing all your other things. So you got to be spinning a few plates, and then that's actually how you can scale. And then within the longer sales cycle, incorporating setters. How many of us in the room already have setters positioned in the business? Okay, a few of us. The others of you might want to be thinking about this, really thinking about this. There's 2 options: human setters, AI setters. We're really close with AI setters now. That was our meeting on Monday, wasn't it, Pete? We were talking about Aaron's been researching heavily a few of the better options for voice agents, and he's gone through a few demos now, and he's experimenting, and it's really good. It's really good. And then you can find a place in the business where that would work the best. You know, it might be that our AI setters set for a human setter, and then it alleviates the pressure on our human setters side to be able to do more of what they need to do, which is actually get someone from cold to warm. But we could have AI setters out there making thousands of calls. That's just getting someone cold into our world. So that's what they're doing, and then once they're in our world, then our human setter turns them cold to warm, and then the closer turns them warm to closed. Yeah, there's scenarios where, like, because the options become pretty infinite when it's an AI agent and you're not bound by someone's time or schedule or the human element. We're even thinking, imagine I've got a monthly masterclass and tickets are free, like it's a free event, and let's say I'm still coming up with the name. Let's say it's the Momentum Masterclass, right? This happens every week. It's always running, and it's free to register for it. So it's a glorified webinar. It's a 4-hour thing, right? Well, it wouldn't be worth my human setters making calls to get someone registered for a free thing. But it would be worth an AI agent who's out there making thousands of calls to any Tom, Dick, and Harry on my database, in my world, maybe even doing some cold calls, who knows, and just getting people registered for that event. You know, so like it starts, like the opportunity starts to really open up, but there's still a place for the human setters in the business as well. We haven't quite, overthrown that yet. I say yet because who knows? We might do them, and who knows? But setters for sure. It's like if we've got ads running and content and they come into our funnel and we're just relying on the funnel to do its thing to get calls on the calendar, and then it's up to you or your closers to close. It's very one-dimensional. It's just like one flow, and there is so much breakage in there, which is all the people that were so close to booking a call, you just weren't aware of them. Like you've got tens of people booking calls, you've probably got hundreds of people that were kind of close. And so having setters that are phoning those people, hey, noticed that you were on the training with John on Tuesday, just wondering how you found it. They can position it as a check-in call, and that check-in call becomes, oh, interesting, tell me more about that. Hey, maybe we should get you on a call with one of our specialists and we can dive into this. And so you start to turn those people who are so close, and like setters are, we're doing some really cool stuff with that at the moment. That's I don't even want to say a bolt-on to the business now. Like it was a bolt-on, and now like our setters is a big part of what we do. Last month, our setters produced a little over a third of the business. A little over a third of the revenue last month was setter generated. And it's low risk. It's low risk because you've got the AI stuff, so it's obviously no risk. The only risk is that they do those calls really badly and it doesn't represent your brand well. But you experiment, don't you? So you have them do 20 calls and you look at the results, you see if people are hanging up or actually enjoying the conversations, and then you gauge it, and then you do more of it. If it's not working, you cut it off. So very low risk, and it's very low risk with the human ones. Because what we do right now, I'll tell you what we do, we pay $750 as a base for a setter. They're a subcontractor, like a closer, and we pay them a base. However, there is a qualifier to get your base, and there's that you've got to make 5 sets. So if they make 5 sets, then we've got 5 sets for $750, which is about what we would look to pay from cold ads, and so then they're paying their way. If they don't get their 5 sets in a month, by the way, in a month, if they don't get their 5 sets, then they don't get their base. And the reality is, if they're only just scraping by and getting their $750 every month, then they shouldn't be on the team for much longer, and they shouldn't want to be, because who wants to work full time for $750? So they shouldn't even really be doing that. So the base is actually just it's like a fake cushion. It's like it makes it sound better, so that the person goes, okay, right, I'll always land at $750 a month, so I've got some security there. But the reality is, if they shouldn't be down there anyway. Does that kind of make sense? So it's very low risk. It's a small base. They have to qualify for the base anyway. So, it's like there's almost no reason why we shouldn't be doing this. And tell us if you need help with this. Like we're doing this. Like we're actively out there doing this. Courtney, our sales director, will be more than happy to help you. Aaron will share with you what we're doing with our AI setters. So don't suffer in silence. If you're thinking about this, if you want to implement it, talk to us. Ask us. We're here. We're always a Slack message away. So those are the 5 things, and then I guess I want to finish up with this. If you're finding it hard at the moment, if your marketing's just hard, if your business is just hard, if you're not enjoying certain things about the business. It just feels like you're in a moment where, like we talked about earlier, I'm in the wrong seat with the wrong hat on, I'm doing the wrong thing, and I've been doing it for too long. Firstly, just know you're not alone. You're not alone, because not only are other people in this room feeling like that as well. Like, I've been feeling like this. I don't know if you remember, back in January, we were in this room, I think, actually. And do anyone remember I just kind of like shared that it's just been a pretty crappy last 6 months? Do you remember that? Like, so I didn't share much about it, but like, it's just a tough spot. Like, sometimes you business goes so well for so long, and then you hit some bumps, and then a certain bump can take you down a spiral. And that's like, that happens. Like, it really happens, and it's to be expected. And so I know some of you around the room, it's like you're in one of those bumps right now. It's like, you've got to understand that is business, that's normal, and that you're not alone. But it's how you handle it, the decisions that you make out the other side. It builds this resilience. And sometimes you're forced to focus on certain things in the business and make difficult decisions, which I'll share one of them with you in a minute. But I want you to know that even at the level that we're playing at AdClients, with all the amazing stuff that you see on the front, it's all epic, it's all great, we're doing cool stuff. Behind the scenes, we still win some and lose some. The thing is, you only see the wins. You don't see the losses. And I'll give you a very real example, because it seems in past masterminds, it's quite refreshing when I'm just honest and share with you stuff that we've got going on so that you feel better. So, like, for example, so AdCom, amazing, like, super profitable, so exciting, a success in every way except the fact I didn't get enough people in the room. I wanted 1,000 and we sold 700 and something tickets, and so I wanted more people in the room. But a success in every way, so we're buzzing and everything's great. So then we have this idea. And I thought it was awesome. I was like, we're going to do AdCon online. Anyone seen those ads? Did you see AdCon online? Okay, right, reaching the right type of people. So I thought we could probably sell a similar amount of tickets to AdCon online as we did the in-person event. And then what we could do is like play the recordings of all of the amazing sessions that were there, and then we can do a live MC thread throughout, and we can do some prize giveaway, do all the cool stuff. And basically position it as a chance, well, you saw the ads, position it as a chance to catch the incredible sessions that happen in the room in a virtual setting. And I'm like buzzing, I'm thinking, right, we ride the momentum as we teach, like ride the momentum of that, like we've got the brand now, we've got like the hype in the industry, so let's go for it. And I just thought it'd be great. And I thought the offer that we'd make, if we did a carbon copy of the offer we did at AdCon in the room, we shouldn't do too far off what we did in the room. We did 1 million in the room. I wouldn't be surprised if we could do 600,000-700,000. So anyway, it was awesome. We set it up, we started running it, and started to get registrations coming in. Not as many as we thought or hoped or would have liked. And I had a holiday coming up, and I was going away to Greece with my family, with my wife and my kids. And I promised my wife in the build-up to AdCon, I was like, it's busy right now. Like we'll have a holiday afterwards, and we will completely switch off. I won't do any work, and so we did. I went away, and it was while the AdCon promotion was going on, AdCon online, and I would have come back the week after, and I would have delivered the event. And I just thought, let's just what will be will be. Promotion's going on, team got it handled, and I'll just come back and I'll deliver the event. So we booked an amazing fancy pants studio. That was pretty expensive. 15 grand for this studio. And then we spent $70,000 on the ads so far. And I get this emergency message from Hannah and Aaron halfway through the week. They were like, and it's not their fault, this story doesn't point to them, but they're like, John, we hate to message you. We've tried absolutely everything. We just cannot get this event to pull. We're not selling tickets. Cost per ticket's way too high. We're selling tickets for $97. Tickets were coming in at $2,000 a pop. Now, the reason why, and we didn't clock this, we did AdCon in person. So that would have been for the UK crowd, European crowd, like everyone that could have got there. So the virtual idea was to do it for the US, the people that my audience there that weren't able to get in. So we did it at a time that worked for them. We were doing the event from 3 p.m. in the afternoon until 10 p.m. at night here in the UK. What we didn't realize is that we were running the event 1, 2, and 3 of July with 4th of July on Friday. So it's like the main market that we're running this promotion for Yeah, we're trying. Yeah, you're like, no way, dude. I'm not attending a virtual event, because as I understand now, like the whole week is a thing. It's not just 4th of July. It's like the build up and all this kind of stuff. It's like no one was registering for this event, and we got to a point where we had sold 100 and something tickets, and 4 of them were from the US. And it was like, what's going on? And then, furthermore, the feedback that was then coming in, because tickets were just not pulling, was then the only people buying tickets were people in the UK and Europe, and the feedback was coming in, it's too late. I don't want to do an event until 10 p.m. at night. So it's like we just got it all wrong. And in the end, I'm on holiday, I'm not working, so I had to make a quick decision. I said, just cancel the event. I'll cut my losses. 15K studio, we might be able to recoup a bit of that. 70K in ad spend, and Courtney and the sales team are just doing their best to recoup what we can from the list in terms of calls and conversations and things like that. So you win some, you lose some. You know, it's like if you're not always in the winning column, that's okay. As long as you're winning more than you're losing, it's like investing, right? It's like as long as you're winning more than you're losing. Then there's another one. Between the years 2020 and then like mid-2024, our business was doing incredibly well, like just on a high, making tons of money, really profitable, everything's awesome, like great. And then middle of 2024, so this was after AdCon last year, things started to go, and there were some decisions, certain hires, like just things that go on when you're trying to scale a business. And then we started to have months that weren't even profitable. It's like, what in the world? It's like up and down like this, like profitable, not profitable, profitable, not profitable. And that was when we led up to the January mastermind. And I was like, if you remember me saying, I was like, this is so refreshing to be in the room. It's just exciting to be here. Like, you're energizing me. You know, it's been a bit pretty crappy last few months. And that's then continued. And what's interesting is between January and AdCom, the day-to-day operation has struggled, not because we're not good at marketing, not because we're not good at sales, not because we're not good at some of these things. It's because the business was just bloated and messy. It's like that word that came up a few times over this side of the room. It's like we had too many team members, not enough activity. It was too expensive to run the business. And essentially what happens is you go to scale a business. You've probably been here, right? You go to scale a business, so you add a team member or a few, or you add some things, that adds expense. Now you need revenue and profit to catch up. And then the game is won. And then you play again. And then the game is won. Well, we did a few jumps, hired a few people. Like the weird thing is, you get stuck in a bit of a loop where you're hiring more people to help with the mess that another employee created. And so now you're bloating to solve problems that the problems shouldn't even be there. So anyway, had to make a really tough decision after AdCom, which was AdCom was epic, profitable as heck, amazing event, everything's awesome. And then we just fell straight back in to the same operation we were. Where I'm like looking at our financial accounts, and I'm like, we're just so bloated. Like, we've got the size of a team that many of our competitors are doing 4 or 5 times the volume of revenue than we are with ours. And so anyway, I had to make a really tough decision, and I significantly reduced the headcount in the business. And it was one of those decisions that I've been thinking about for months. I'm like, I know that there's certain people in the business that probably shouldn't be here. I know that we're bloated. I know that this is, just not, it's not as it should be. But I really care about people. It doesn't show on my Clifton strengths, but I promise you, I really care about people, and like that means a lot to me. So I'm like fighting and fighting and fighting to hit certain targets in the business, that we're only hitting those targets to service a level of bloat that shouldn't be there. Do you see how weird that actually sounds when you say it? And so, I put it off, and in the end, I had to have some really difficult conversations the last couple of weeks and remove a lot of people from the business. I halved the team. And I won't get into all the nuances of that. There's lots I could say. But the outcome the other side, I can't tell you how much better everything is. And I hope you guys that are still in the room don't take this the wrong way, because I care about the people that left. But I feel lighter, I feel creative again, I feel excited, the business isn't as bloated, we can do some great things. And I've now done what I needed to do to get me back in the right seat. Because for the past few months, I've just been in the wrong seat, wearing the wrong hat, not enjoying the work that I'm doing. And it's moments where I come to an expansion event or a Titan event or AdCom, where I'm lit up again. And I'm reminded, this is where I should be. These are the areas of the business where I'm great, and I need to stay in those seats, and I need to remove the chaos. And I had to do some difficult things to make that happen. But the good news is, everything's just, really good. And a lot of the things that could have been horrendous off the back of that decision haven't actually happened. And the team that remains, credit to those that are in the room and so whether it's like the team that remains, we have an amazing team, like an incredible team. So we're able to produce, and we've demonstrated it in the last 2 weeks, we're still able to do everything we were already doing with the same amount of time that we had. Because if I've kept the A players, I mean, no disrespect to the others, but if they were newer to the business and I've kept the A players, then now the time that the extra benefit we would have got from the others, we've now saved in the management time of the others. You with me? So it's like there's so many other nuances, not just about how hard someone can work, it's where's their time going. That decision freed up a lot of time on the people that are staying. So we're doing the same amount with half. So it's just, anyway, I guess my question to you off the back of that is just think about what's the painful decision perhaps that you've been putting off that you probably know that you need to do, because I'm not going to tell you what to do, but you should probably do it. You should probably do it. Like I'm being serious. We're in tougher times right now than it's been in the marketing, sales, entrepreneurship world. We've talked about a lot of it over this morning so far, and it's like jobs are being replaced already. And so there's certain people that you might be desperate to hold on to because you like them. You might be forced to make that decision later on down the road in a much more uncomfortable scenario where the whole ship could go down, So we're in this place where we kind of need to be lean and nimble and be prepared for what's coming and not just be prepared, but like thriving. And the only way you're going to do that is if you start to make some of those difficult decisions now. So you probably should, and you'll probably figure out the solutions. And some of the things that you think will probably go wrong in the interim, like they might or they might not. You don't know. But you kind of like, there's a comfort in not making the tough decision, and then there's a moment to do it. And I said to Gemma on the way in, I just started like offloading this to Gemma as she walked in. I was like, I'm probably in a moment of bias right now because I'm like bullish on making the decision that you probably should do. But you can then find solutions to fit certain things that you otherwise weren't going to do that might be more cost efficient, might just be easier. So anyway, that's the first question. Or the second question is, what do you know is a priority for your time and stuff just always gets in the way? So then what you need to do is you need to go home and get very serious about make it an immediate priority to spend your time doing that thing. Like if there's something in your business, you're like, that's what I should be doing. That's my zone of genius. That's where I'm better. That should be the priority. But every day turns into every week, turns into every month, and I'm not doing the thing. You're actually pulling the whole business down. So you've got to get back in the right seat. So it might be a tough decision you need to make, or it might just be that you need to force your way in to be doing the things you should be doing. Does that make sense? Yeah? Cool. So in summary, the road ahead, I've got 5 summary points. Number 1, it's critical that we take fast action right now because some strategies that we've been talking about have a bit of a shelf life. AI is moving so quickly, it's evolving, we've got to pivot. Like we've just got to be more nimble now. Like it's like I picture like a video controller in my hand, and I'm like trying to play the marketing and sales game the way we've always played it. Well, I used to just hit that button and a sale would come in. It's like, no, the game's changed now. There's a few other little buttons, there's some cheat codes, and we've just got to stay really nimble at learning the rules of the game. So taking fast action, capitalizing on things while they're working right now is really important. Having future lenses with what's going on with AI and others, like what's down the track and how can I have that influence my decisions now? Expect and get comfortable with constant change. It just seems, it's not the ideal, but it just seems that the days where you could have a sales funnel that just sits and runs for 2 years, you don't have to do anything, like it just feels like those days are just gone. It just needs a little bit more time where it's like just constantly editing and changing and tweaking and checking what's happening in the AI scene and how can that change what I'm doing right now. We're just in a world where it just needs that little bit more attention as opposed to set and forget for 2 years like Fez does with his webinars. It's like we're maybe past that. And then stay lean, nimble, sharp. What used to take a team of 50, we're going to a place where it can be done with a team of 5. So just if that's where we're going, then that's where we've got to have the future lenses of like, okay, how can I protect my business now? Don't wait till you're forced to. And then finally, everything on the marketing front is just let your value attract the ask from your client instead of forcing a CTA. It's like the old way was just you do marketing and you drop CTA and you try and persuade people to book that call. It's like, it feels like we're going in a direction now. It's like, let's just position ourselves correctly, amazing branding, great value, funnels and marketing set up in the right places to funnel someone through the process, but let's let them come for the ask and willingly click because they want to know more, as opposed to like having to be all manipulative with our marketing.
Perhaps off the back end of all of this information, you're feeling nervous, excited, or maybe a mixture of the two, and you're feeling like, right, I've got to really capitalize on this opportunity and make the most of this next period of time, and you want to shortcut your way to doing that. Me and my team would love to help you. We've done this countless times before with clients in a variety of different industries, and we're at the forefront of this, and we can take you along with us. If you would like to have a chat with my team, explore how we can work with you, help you to package up your offers properly, build the right sales processes, generate traffic in a way that's actually working right now, then we would love the opportunity to do that. There's a video up here that you can go ahead and click on. Gives you a bit more information about who we are, what we're about, how we can help you, and how you can get in touch with us. So don't leave this video without checking that one out, and I'll see you over there.